The arrogant me. So, the biggest hurdle on our path to awakening is the the self that is basically constructed of ideas. If you look at the identity, if you look at your self-image, you might think of it as one solid identity, but if you look at it closely, you'll notice that it's constructed of many beliefs. And fundamentally, what keeps us, blinded from awakening is that we think that we understand stuff. We think that there is a self that could understand stuff. We believe that we know certain things. And what makes it even more tricky is that there are layers, apparently, of this knowing. So we have some very fundamental beliefs that we take for granted. And then we have other beliefs that are sort of stacked on top of those beliefs. And that kind of creates a solidity to the beliefs on the deeper levels. Like, for instance, we could have the belief that we are a human being on planet Earth. And that will seem indisputable when we stack on top of that more and more knowledge that stems from those fundamental beliefs. Like, I'm not only a human being on planet Earth, but I'm an American or whatever nationality you are, or I'm, maybe you're a certain, you belong to a certain religion, so you might say that I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Muslim, or it could be anything. So now you're building more and more on top of that, and then you might build even more on top of that and say that, I like this kind of music, like I have these political ideologies, I have, I am you could also think that, I'm a good student, or I'm a guitar player, or I'm this, I'm that, and then you can go on top of that. And then we also learn more beliefs that seem to substantiate the beliefs in the bottom. We start to learn. So you got this like root here, these root beliefs. On the very basic root belief is just the I amness, that like there is a self that you are, that exists, and through that belief, there's the beliefs such as like I'm a human being on planet Earth, and then it goes there and more complex and more complex, and then you can have these really complex beliefs where you're like, oh well, this is all made of atoms, and then you can go deeper than that, and you can start learning about quantum mechanics, and then that kind of comes back around and substantiates the root belief. And this whole thing is kind of groundless, and it's basically holding itself together. So basically, the me is an illusion, because that is the first belief, the I amness, the self, and we see that's a very innocent belief there, because it seems self-evident. And through that illusion, everything else seems to kind of spiral out. But the me is if you really look at it, and you look at all the things that it takes as true, if you are critical of these beliefs, you will notice that there's arrogance infused in all of these beliefs, no matter how simple and how much we take for granted. I mean, even things like people will call someone stupid, or like, like argue with them over, maybe not understanding something, like, maybe somebody learned about the Big Bang and about atoms and all of that stuff and the elements, and they're maybe talking to somebody who is like a creationist, somebody who doesn't believe any of that stuff. They think that the world is, I don't know, only 12,000 years old or something like that. I can't remember. There's a lot of different beliefs regarding stuff like that. Now, the person who is arguing for the scientific perspective, now, he doesn't, typically, he's not a scientist and he's not a physicist. He has no idea how an atom works. He has no idea anything to do with physics at all. But he'll argue like he does know. Because there's a kind of like a illusion and kind of like a groupthink effect going on when there's a lot of other people walking around doing the same thing. It kind of makes you feel entitled. You know, when there's a large group of people who believe one thing, but none of them understand it, then there seems to be this arrogance that seems to populate. And the same goes for really just about anything. You know, we don't really know what a human is. This is an idea that we made up, and we don't really understand the magnitude of what we are. And we don't and another thing too is like, another example is a lot of religious people, right? And I'm not picking on them because I find religion fascinating, but something I've noticed is that a lot of times they'll, believe something up and down, and they might even condemn other people who don't believe it, but they never even actually read the holy book. They didn't even read the whole thing. It's just like, you're so sure and certain, and you think that you know this, and you didn't even put the time in to read the whole Bible or the whole Quran or the whole, whatever. And this isn't to pick on people, and it's just about being honest with yourself. Because this is the way that we get to truth, right? And if we just keep arrogantly walking around spouting belief systems that we've been indoctrinated with, we're not living honestly. And awakening is all about truth. So what I recommend doing if you're a spiritual seeker is, or just in general, is to, every time you have a firm stance on something, or maybe you're feeling a little triggered when somebody's challenging a certain belief that you hold, or maybe you're trying to persuade somebody of a certain belief, I challenge you to try to be honest with yourself and look carefully at what you're saying and what you're believing in, and investigate, do you actually know what you're talking about at all? And that doesn't mean that we just stop believing in science, we don't believe in atoms, we stop our religion or whatever it is. And it can feel scary because you might feel like that is what I'm saying, or even when you're trying to practice this, you might be like, wait, why am I doing this? But the point is that if you want to live a truthful life, if you value truth at all, a lot of people, especially if they have not already done this investigation at all, are walking around and spouting things arrogantly. And I would say that this is kind of the norm. You can still believe that there's utility to these ideas that culture has given to you, whether they're scientific ideas or religious ideas. They may have utility. They may be practical for you. And you may have an earnest desire to understand it. But the mistake is walking around like you already do And that's only going to prevent you from actually understanding if this is a truthful path or if it's a waste of time. So yeah, if you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please comment, please hit the subscribe button. If you have anything you want to say, then please comment down below. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.